Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and I'm going to be showing you some gameplay in a very popular tank, the Tiger. Now, this video is going to be focused on the gameplay, but also I want to just talk about the Tiger and sort of my relationship with it. That's right, I've had a relationship with the Tiger. No, come on. What I'm talking about is that literally when I started World of Tanks, when I played that closed beta for the first time, I raced towards the Tiger because I'm not sure if it was the same with you guys, but before I really started playing World of Tanks, I was very, very, very ignorant about armor from World War II, and even sort of post-World War II armor and modern armor. I feel so ignorant now, and I'm really happy that World of Tanks has sort of like sparked an interest in a fantastic sort of historical part of our world. Tanks is absolutely amazing, and that's why I think a lot of people are interested in World of Tanks. Everyone seems to feel it's just inbuilt into them. So, literally, as I was saying, when I played World of Tanks for the first time, I tried to race towards the Tiger. And when I got there, I thought, well, this is quite fun. But back then, I didn't really know how to play the game. And I thought just having a great gun, and at that point, its gun was okay, but it's undergone some serious changes. In the recent patches, the Tiger's gun has been buffed massively with respect to its DPM. Its alpha damage hasn't been buffed, it's still 240. However, its DPM has been increased massively because of its rate of fire. Now the Tiger's armor is not very good, and the Tiger's a gigantic box of a tank, which means that the enemies can quite often shoot it, especially if it tries to come round corners. However, if you can try and get into positions like I'm about to go into, where all you're showing is your turret to the enemy, and hopefully you have good gun depression to be able to target the enemy tanks, just check out this rate of fire. We put 2 into the IS. Make that 3. And he missed us. We just put 700 damage into him, got him spotted, and wrecked by all of the heavy tanks that seem to be camping on the other side. Luckily for us, we dodged the artillery. Our shell dipped a little bit there. It wasn't very well aimed. But thanks to our great rate of fire, and this artillery seemed to be a gigantic idiot, we're able to take him out effectively. Now there's so many things I want to talk about. Firstly, I'm using binoculars on this tank rather than gun lane drive. Now the aim time on the Tiger with the long 88, I believe is 2.7 seconds, so or even 2.9, so a lot of people argue that you should use a gun lane drive on this tank. However, I like binoculars because I feel that it allows me to spot the enemies at much larger distances. So watch this. Okay, I'm predicting where they're going to be camping. Okay, yeah, we just took out the AMX, 1400 efficiency player, the best player on the enemy team. Fantastic. It's just about knowing where your opponents are going to be, and that AMX was camping in one of the most popular locations on this map. We were able to bag him, take him out. I'm going to have a few more chancy shots. Who knows, maybe there's a whole gaggle of enemy tanks camping in that location. And now we're engaging a Tiger P. This is very interesting. The regular Tiger has much worse armor than a Tiger P. However, we have much higher DPM as far as I'm aware. I haven't really looked at the stats fully. And he has a very prominent cupola on top of his tank, which you can see that we're taking advantage of. It's interesting that he can't shoot us, but we can clearly see him. And that's a big difference in the height of the cupolas that I didn't really respect until I got this kind of an engagement. And as you can see, we're just wrecking this enemy Tiger P. We make a bit of a mistake here, and you can see our gun depression isn't quite good enough, so we get hit once. And we actually end up getting hit twice. So, looking back on that play just there, I lost 467 health to the Tiger P there. Wow, it's really not good, is it? I was playing it so well, I was wrecking him, and then I misjudged how good the gun depression was in the Tiger. And I took 2 hits for it. And because of the fact that I didn't angle my armor very well, and I'm a gigantic box of a tank, I was never really going to be bouncing those shots. Interestingly, we sort of just totally cleared out those enemy tanks, and now the support is following us. One thing I'd like to highlight is that this is the new version of Red Shire Encounter, and I think it's a massive improvement over the old version. I think the cap circle very much is the focus now, and that people like me who like to fight around this eastern part, I find this is a really lovely engagement around the east. You've got ridge lines to hide behind, you've got undulations of your medium tanks to hide in, so to say. I feel that the east is just absolutely fantastic on this map, and I generally go there, whether it's a standard game mode or an encounter game mode. And as you can see, it's paying off for me now. I've picked up 3 kills, and I've done, depending on how much damage we did with the blind shot, either 1900 plus, really. Could be as high as 2000 so far. But just talking about, going back to the fact that the Tiger was the first tank that I wanted to play, and I'm very interested, and let me know in the comments down below, how many of you guys, literally, was the first thing that you did in World of Tanks was try to get the Tiger? Is it a popular thing that people do? I'm sure that now it's different because of the amount of media there is in World of Tanks, so a lot of people maybe see a gameplay that they really like. Maybe you've seen one of my videos and you've seen a specific tank that you like. And then you're gonna say, alright, I want to get that tank. And then you grind up the tree until you get there. But if you were to go into World of Tanks completely blind, just like I did, I had not watched one video on it, nothing about it, back in closed beta, and the first thing I wanted to do, let's get the Tiger. Did I regret it back then? Kind of. It was the Tiger 2 that really started to make it for me. When I got the Tiger 2, I realized, hell, I can carry games. And that's one of the big things for me between the Tiger and the Tiger 2. The fact that the Tiger 2's armor, apart from maybe its turret, can actually work. Now, the Tiger's turret isn't actually that bad, but the hull armor is awful unless you're playing against very low tier targets and you can afford to just bounce them by angling straight at the front, angling your armor maybe about 35 degrees, then you're not really going to bounce anything that's worthwhile tier. And that's very frustrating for me as a player, because I'm not sure what you guys feel, but when you start to play the game a little bit better, you want to have armor that works. And we just absolutely wrecked that T-29 with our DPM. Hid behind the house, got him to shoot the house. He just got murdered. But for me, the armor on the Tiger makes it feel like it's a tank that you can't... I don't know, I'm going to say this, and I'm sure that this is going to be quite controversial. I feel like it's a low skill cap tank. Oh no, everyone's going to rage at me now in the comments below. And I really feel that because you can't use the armor effectively against what I would call competent players, that means that it just really takes a huge element of the skill in a heavy tank away from it. That's just my opinion. I feel it's very much like a TOG. It's got a lot of health. Pretty much the same kind of tier for tier health as the TOG. Obviously the TOG is one tier lower. The Tiger has an extra 100 hit points. It's the speciality of the tank. The fact that it's got basically 250 more hit points than other equal tiered heavies. And obviously tier for tier the TOG has a lot more. I'm not saying that the Tiger has in the same league as the TOG tier for tier. What I'm saying, however, is that the Tiger obviously has a lot of health. Its armor is really weak. And I'm very interested about the way that effectively this tank has been balanced recently. Effectively, what Wargaming have done is, well, we're not changing the armor, but we still want it to be a good tank because so many people play the game to play this tank. So we're just going to buff its DPM to allow them to do some damage with their health pool before they die, effectively. Maybe that's a very cynical viewpoint. Maybe some of you would agree with me, and maybe some of you think that I'm just totally waffling on here. But I do feel that my cynical side might be correct, that Wargaming have targeted this as a tank that is immensely popular, and they want it to have a fairly good role on the battlefield. And I would be more than surprised if it wasn't the case that they noticed that a lot of people get to the Tiger, and then they reach that tier 7 tank, which requires a lot of money, firstly, to run, to be able to, especially without a premium account, it requires a hell of a lot of experience to get to your tier 8. And I wouldn't be surprised if they decided, hell, let's buff one of the most popular tanks in the game, so that we try and encourage those people to progress. Now, is the Tiger balanced at the moment? Let me just say right now that it's not overpowered. The DPM on it might be, because you can see what we can do to other tier 7 heavies when they're not playing very well here. And we hit the gun of that Tiger P there. Bit of a bad shot. I should have aimed it a little bit lower. Well, we didn't take a hit because he shot us in the turret. Oh, we miss our shot like a big donkey. But it doesn't really matter because we reload so damn quickly. I just don't know. It feels like a TOG. A TOG has got lots of hit points. It's got amazing DPM. Amazing DPM. The TOG has got a great gun. But the thing is it's got basically no armor to back it up. And I'm not comparing the Tiger to the TOG directly. What I'm saying is it right that Wargaming have effectively given this tank a huge amount of DPM and increased its health to compensate for a complete lack of armor? And you can see what we're doing here against this team of tier 7 heavies. Some of their players were competent, and some of them were not. We finish up the game with 7 kills and 5,000 damage. So let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. And I'm very interested to know how much damage we did to that AMX that we hit from stealth. So that was our mastery badge in the Tiger. We got a huge amount of experience for that game. We got 8,964 experience for our 3 times. Now that might make you think that we got 2,988 experience for our double. And at first I thought so. However, there was some event experience. We got 10% event experience because I think we killed a Soviet tank and a German tank, and there's been a special this weekend. However, we were still able to get 1,928 base experience in the Tiger, with a whopping 5,263 damage and 7 kills. Looking at how much we did to that AMX, we only did 21 to him, so there wasn't some kind of amazing blind ammo rack that I was hoping there was going to be at first. Still, it's definitely worth taking blind shots at the enemy's positions, hopefully just to make them panic and move backwards or forwards, so you can pick them up with binoculars. However, remember that firing does lower your camo rating a lot, so firing blind can often get you spotted. So you really need to weigh up the benefits to the costs before you decide to make those blind shots. So we fired 35. I didn't feel like I played this game perfectly. I missed looking back on it while I was discussing the sort of the politics of the Tiger. I noticed I did miss quite a few shots that I probably should have hit, but we still hit 28 out of 35. And of those, in this kind of a matchup against tier 7 tanks, 26 penetrated. And we took 3 hits that game. Somehow the Tiger managed to just do a sweeping maneuver and just avoid most of the fire. It was more about kind of just only giving them my turret or hiding behind objects and just simply dodging their shots. And that's what you have to do in a Tiger if you want to have a good game in it, because its hull armor is just not good enough to really take the hits. So really I've discussed quite a lot of things that I wanted to say about the Tiger. One, that it's undoubtedly a very popular tank, and I want you to let me know in the comments below if it is the tank that you tried to go for first. Secondly, did you know about sort of World War II armor at any kind of a decent level before you played World of Tanks? And what do you think about the Tiger getting 13% more DPM than an IS, as well as having that extra penetration? What gun do you think is better? Do you think you would rather have the 122mm with its much higher alpha damage, albeit increased aim time, worse accuracy, much worse accuracy, I will hasten to add, and its lower penetration? And do you think that the Tiger mechanics are a skillful thing? Do you think having a really high DPM with sort of a reliable gun, but having almost no armor to back it up and being compensated by having a lot of hit points is good for the game? Would you argue that the Tiger is maybe now one of the best starting tanks? Just to sort of learn how to shoot, to go in there, to do a fair amount of damage with your high DPM? Soak up a lot of damage with your hit points for a new player at tier 7, so they can sort of learn how to have a role in the game and hopefully learn how to help their team proceed to victory. Now, I'm not saying that I did anything really special this game. All I did was know the map, know that not many people know how to play this map, get a good matchup, flank around. I made one good blind shot on the only really skilled player on the enemy team, and then proceed to just use my flanking and my high DPM to out damage the enemies. Getting the huge amount of experience that I did was quite a relief because I was getting quite stressed about the fact that I didn't have a mastery badge in the Tiger. Although one thing that I will add is I just found this screenshot of me with 1,111 battles. Look at that win ratio, guys. It's barely over 50%. Look at that Lee win ratio. It's it's 25%. But the real reason why I have this screenshot is because it was one of my first Whitman's medals in the Tiger. Now you might be thinking, what the hell is a Whitman's medal? Well, they decided that it was unpolitically correct to call it a Whitman's medal, so they changed it to a Bolter's medal. And then the Bolter's medal, which used to be awarded for killing 7 or more enemy tanks, was changed to a Radley Walters medal, but it now required killing 8 or more enemy tanks. So if you're watching this video and feeling very confused, then don't worry about it, because I've brought up so many things here. One, a lot of you guys ask if I was always amazing at World of Tanks, and the answer from here seems to be no. I will add that I didn't have a premium account, and that I played all of the tanks stock. I didn't have any free experience, and I hadn't spent any gold on my account at this point. You must also consider that back in 2011, hardly anyone really knew how to play World of Tanks, because frankly there weren't people out there such as myself making the weak points of tanks explicit. There wasn't XVM back then. There wasn't even 3D models that were made popular, so you could literally almost know where to shoot the enemies and find their weak points. You had to do it all by yourself. This screenshot put a lot of things in perspective for me. The game has changed so much, and 99% of it is for the better. I play this game for fun, and I play it because you guys, my community, are simply awesome. I'm having probably just as much fun now as I did when I got this Whitman's medal back in 2011. So I just noticed that I must have actually had a premium account by now, because I got 2,061 experience, and there's no way that this would have been a 3,000 experience game with premium account. Maybe the stakes have changed, and it maybe requires me to get about 50% more experience than 3 years ago, where I've considered that I've had a fairly good role in the game. But I'm still loving World of Tanks, and I'm definitely going to be playing this for the foreseeable future. Guys, I'm going to make a real effort in this video to try and reply to as many of the comments as possible, at least for the next week after I release it. I have brought up a lot of things in this video, and I'd really like to get your opinions on them. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider rating it down below, and I really look forward to reading your comments. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.